in this video, we're talking about Aeneid, Book 1, lines 157 to 179. And this is after the storm. Defats Aeneadae quae proxima victora quod contendent vetere, et Libiae vertuntura doras. The tired followers of Aeneas, that's what this word Aeneadae means, Aeneas' group. They hasten, contendent, to seek, and then this indirect question is our direct object. They hasten to seek which shore is closest. The verb of that indirect question has been looked at. They hasten to seek with their course which shore is closest, and they are turned to the shores of Libya. So the tired followers of Aeneas, they hasten to seek which shores are closest with their course, and they are turned to the shores of Libya. Est in sequessu longo locus insula portum efficit objectu laterum quis omnes ab alto francetur in quasinus in necesse undere ductos. There is a place in a long inlet. The island produces a harbor from the projection of its sides, on which omnis unda, every wave ab alto, from the deep sea. There's that autonomy that we get a lot of the time with alto. Every wave from the deep is broken from the shore and cuts itself on the drawn back folds, bays, something like that. And so, again, there is a place in a long inlet. The island creates a harbor from the projection of its sides, on which every wave from the deep is broken and cuts itself on the drawn back bays. Hic quinquas taerupes feminique venantur in caelum scopuli quorum subverte late, aequora tutis vigilantum silvis caena coruscis de superorenti quattro nemus innet umbra. On this side and that side, hincat quinc, vast cliffs and twin rocks. Minantur. This verb actually means to threaten, but here is a little more, is more something like to tower over into the sky, under the point of which the tuta equor, the safe waters, are widely still or silent. Then a scene of quivering woods and a dark grove, imminent, this actually again is related to Mentor, overhangs from above, de super, with bristling shade. So on this side and that, vast cliffs and twin rocks tower into the sky, under the point of which the safe waters are widely still. Then a scene of quivering woods and a dark grove overhang from above with a bristling shade. Fronte sub adversus scopulis pendentibus antram, intus aquae ductis vivoque sedilia saxo. Nympharum domus, hic fessas non vincula naves nulla tenent, unco non alvidat ancora morsu. in the first part of this next section, up to the semicolon here, not semicolon, that's a real colon, the colon here, we don't have the verb, and so we have to imply something like est. So there is, under the opposite face, opposite side, an antrum, a cave of hanging rocks. Inside, sweet waters and the seats of living rock. That's an adjective description. It's not something we've talked about a lot, but it's basically translated just like a description. So seats of living rock. And then we have a positive, the home of the nymphs. And here, heek, not any chains, hold the tired ships, no anchor, and the anchor does not, bind them with a curved bite. And that refers to that little like hook thing that's on the bottom of an anchor. So under the opposite side, there's a cavern of hanging rocks, inside sweet waters, and seats of living rock, the home of the nymphs. Here, not any chains hold the tired ships, and the anchor does not bind them with a curved bite. Hoc step taineas collectis nav besomni ex numero sumit, ac magro telluris amore, egresi optata podiuntor troes arena, et salit eventis artus militore pomnum. To this place, Aeneid arrives, and an absolute with 7 ships, having been collected, gathered from the whole number. And we found out later that this is actually 20 ships. So these was 20, but in this storm, 13 ships are lost. And so he's got 7 ships still with him. And they land in this natural harbor that we've just heard about. The Troes, the Trojans, they obtain, they reach the arena optata, the hoped for sand. Right, so they're in the middle of the storm and they've been just desperate to reach shore and navigate. And they aggressively, having disembarked, having gotten off their ships with a magno amore telluris, a great love of the land, or love for the land. And they place their limbs, their arms and legs, which are tabentis sali, soaked with salt on the shore. That salt, of course, being the salt water from the sea. So to this place, Aeneid arrives with 7 ships having been gathered out of the whole number, and the Trojans, having disembarked with a great love of the land, reach the hoped-for sand, and they place their limbs soaked with salt on the shore. Ac primum silicis scintillam excludida factis, sucepit quignam fulgis ac quarida circum, nutrementa denet, rabuit quin fomite flamma. And first, Hades. We're going to learn more later about who Hades is, but basically, he is like Aeneas' BFF that we're in. He strikes out a spark with flint, and he catches the fire with leaves, and he places around the fuel, and he seizes the flame on this one. So I don't know how familiar you are with building fires, but basically this is just a very detailed description of how Katie's builds a fire. If you ever have the experience in like elementary school or Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, where you rub two rocks or sticks together to create a spark, but that's what he's doing, right? He's rubbing rocks together to get a spark, and then he's catching that spark with leaves, and then he's putting more dry wood around it, and using smaller sticks to catch it all together to build this big fire. So Anne first, Aeneid strikes out a spark with flint, and he catches the fire with leaves, and he places the dry fuel around, and he snatches the flame on the tinder. Tu cerrem corrupta mundis careala forma, expediunt fessirerum frugesque receptas et parere adam flammis et frangere saxo. Then, tired of things, they bring out the grain. Kererem, right? This comes from Siri, the goddess of grain, but she's being used here to stand in for the grain food itself. The grain that's corruptam undis, having been ruined by the waves. And the Caralia Arma, this literally is like the weapons having to do with Ceres. But here it's just talking about like cooking utensils. And they prepare both to roast the recovered grains with flames and to break them with a rock. Right, so they're cooking and grinding up their foods so they can have a meal. Then, tired of things, they bring out the grain ruined by the waves and the utensils of Ceres, and they prepare both to roast the recovered grains with flames and to break them with a rock. So, one more time through this whole section. De Aeneid quae proxima victora quosu contendent peter Liviae vertuntura doras. Est insices longo locus insula proximo ficit obiectua aterum, quibus omnis ab alto frangitur imposinus indit seisunda reductus. Hinc aut quinquastae lupes devenique venantur in haemus populi, Quorum sub vertice lacte, aequora tuta silent, silvis Gaia porusci se super orenti quattro nemos inenet umbra. Fronte sua versus populis pendentibus anterum intus aquae dulces duoquas lilia saxo, infarum domus, hic fessas on vicula naus ulla tenent, unco non aliat ancora morsu, Huc sept Aeneas collectis naubus omnibus ex numero suet, ac madum tellurus amore aggressio trata potiuntur Troies Helena, et salent aventis artus in victora formam. Ac primum silicis gentillam excudita cacti, sucepet quignem foliis ad qualia tertum, nutrimente dedit rabusque infomites lamam. Tu cerrem corruptundis carealde quarta expedius facilebrum frugesque receptas et torere para flammis et frangere saxo. The tired followers of Aeneas hasten to seek which shores are closest with their course, and they are turned to the shores of Libya. There is a place in a long inlet. The island creates a harbor from the projection of its sides, on which